Hey, what is going on, everybody? My name is Agent Psycho, and I'm bringing you guys the newest, or the review on the newest assault rifle added to Common Arms as of earlier today, of the July 13th patch, I want to say. And this is the first gun of this newest patch that has been released for preview sale, and it is the KH2002 assault rifle. Now, I could be pulling my ass out of this one. Ooh, nice PC. But I believe this may be a Chinese assault rifle. I'm not too sure, but I swear I've seen pictures of it elsewhere and reading the description that it was indeed a Chinese assault rifle. I'm not too sure. I could go do background checks on this, but I'm too lazy right now. And besides, I'm doing this audio commentary, so how could I? So you guys can verify that for me in the meantime. But anyways, the KH2002. Right off the bat, I can tell you guys it totally reminds me of stupid teammate of the FAMAS series, the FAMAS assault rifle series. In fact, it is very similar to the FAMAS G2 SE, not the SE, but just the FAMAS G2, the NX standard variant of the FAMAS family. And yeah, basically its mechanics work pretty much the same way as a FAMAS G2. However, there are a few differences, a few key differences that do set the KH2002 aside from the other FAMAS variants. So without further ado, let's get started. So because, as you guys know, we don't really have access to cold hard stats at the moment, all I can give you guys are estimates of what the KH2002's actual statistics are in terms of, actual numerical value. But I've done a little bit of research on my own in terms of, just comparing statistics of the KH2002 to the other weapons, and most notably the FAMAS G2, because I just couldn't help but think that there was a lot of similarity between the KH2002 and the FAMAS series of guns. So what I found was, before that, obviously, because it is preview sale, it is only available currently, I think, for only today. Maybe they extend it for like the weekend, I don't know, but it does currently cost 11,900 NX for 90 days, and the usual $25 for permanent purchase. So there you go. The thing to know about the KH2002 is that the damage and the portability are both identical to the KH2002. So in that sense, it is very similar to the FAMAS G2. The KH2002 has a very similar damage profile to the FAMAS G2. So in that sense, if you guys do like the FAMAS G2, I'm just calling it DG. It's kind of tiring saying FAMAS G2 over and over again. But anyways, if you guys do like the G2 in terms of its damage, then you guys will probably enjoy the KH2 as well. So there you go. One thing to note about the KH's damage, though, is that the damage doesn't seem to be consistent. It's pretty random, as I would say. So I don't know. When I played with it earlier today, it just didn't feel like it would perform consistently. I mean, most of the time it would perform well, and it's great. It has a very high DPS time, and it just knocks down people really quickly. But I don't know. It's sometimes there might be a few instances where you could have sworn you should have killed the guy with your KH2002. So just be careful of that. You are bound to run into a few instances where you're gonna be like, man, why didn't I kill him? Like, why didn't my gun kill him? I should have killed him. So just a little bit of warning there. In terms of damage drop-off, the damage drop-off is very good. I mean, it is an assault rifle, and yeah, over range, it is extremely good. Its damage profile, anyway, is pretty good for an assault rifle, so nothing too special there. In fact, well, it's pretty good, so I shouldn't say it's nothing special, but it's yeah, whatever. I don't know where I was trying to go with that, but anyways, the portability, like I mentioned before, is the exactly identical to the G2's portability. So you're gonna have the portability of a FAMAS G2 on your hands whenever you're using the KH2002. The rate of fire, so here is where the statistics begin to stray away from the FAMAS G2. Compared to the FAMAS G2, the KH2002 has higher rate of fire, less accuracy, and less recoil. Now, here's the weird thing about the KH. First of all, let's start off with what's not weird, because so I can, fill up the suspense here. But the rate of fire on the KH does indeed seem to be a little bit faster. but to be honest, the firing sound on the G2, the FAMAS G2, makes it sound like the FAMAS G2 has a higher rate of fire than the KH. But I can definitely feel that the KH does indeed have a higher rate of fire, but it's just by a little bit. I think it's only like 1 or 2 points higher than the G2 technically. So yeah, it's not by too much. So you can still think of it as you know, a G2's rate of fire. In fact, because the G2 has that S3 silencer and the KH does not, the rate of fire actually seems like the FAMAS, just a regular FAMAS or the FAMAS SE. So in that sense, it's pretty similar. In terms of its accuracy, I don't really know. The FAMAS G2 does have that forced not ITech, but the red dot sight, or the reflex sight, I think it's called. I don't really like the reflex sight because at long range, if you try to aim for long range targets, that huge hulking red dot can really get in your way. So I don't really like that for long range engagements. But because obviously the KH does not have a forced scope at it of any kind, I slapped on an ACOG, and it knocks down people very well at long range. So even though it technically does have a few points less in accuracy compared to the FAMAS G2, it's still very accurate for because it's an assault rifle. So it's something you would expect of an assault rifle. Anyways. That aside, the recoil. Now here's where things get a little bit hairy. The recoil on the KH, they say it's lower. However, it's I don't know. It just feels very subjective. How I like to think of the KH's recoil is that in terms of recoil. What is it? The recoil spread. The recoil spreads out much more quickly than the FAMAS G2. Granted, it still doesn't spread out as fast as other assault rifles, obviously. Like generally speaking of the entire pool of assault rifles and combat arms, I would have to classify the KH's recoil spread as about the middle of the spectrum. It doesn't spread out too fast, but it still spreads out faster than say an M416 or an M481. So in that sense, it's good. It's neither really good or bad. I mean, it could be better, but it's very easy to get used to. In terms of recoil kickback, though, the kickback, I feel like the KH really does have an advantage over the G2, because if you spray for a long time with the G2, eventually you're going to your G2 will hit like a side to side kind of rocking pattern as if. After you spray for a long time. Sorry for my stumbling. But for the KH, I feel like the KH actually spreads in, or it kicks back in a perfect circle. So you don't really need to worry about, much side-to-side wobble, in my opinion anyway. And also, when you're hip firing with the KH, I feel like you can hip fire very well with the KH. It's just that your only problem is that the spread may become too large too quickly, so you may want to take down your targets as soon as possible. So having good aim really helps in that regard. The KH is not a terribly new friendly gun because you actually do need to aim it yourself, not unlike the other weapons, cough cough, M416CV, cough cough. But anyways, so yeah, that's what I mean by how I think the recoil statistic on the KH2002 is kind of a toss up. So there you go. Those are just my thoughts on the recoil profiles of the KH2002. And overall, the recoil controllability of the KH is pretty manageable. The center speed, I forgot to test whether or not to test the center speeds, but because it's so similar to the FAMAS family, especially the FAMAS G2, I would not be surprised if the KH2002's center speed, I'll mention this later again in the review, but I would not be surprised if the KH2002's center speed, actually, judging by the gameplay here on my preview screen, it actually seems like the center speed is as fast as a FAMAS, so that's a really good thing, because now you're able to take down multiple targets in quick succession at a time, because like I mentioned before in my FAMAS family reviews, the FAMAS the FAMAS family is one of the few families that have like a really like super fast, like almost instantaneous center speed characteristic, and it looks like because the KH2002 is so similar to the FAMAS G2 anyway, it looks like it shares that characteristic as well. So I'm very, very glad for that. It may explain. Oh, there's a hacker too. It may explain why in the Jungfleet gameplay you'll be seeing later on in this review that I do very, very well with it in it, even though I usually don't like to bring assault rifles into Jungfleet one-man army because some machine guns are for the most part much better. But that's its recoil ability. It's very, very easy to the recoil is very, very easy to control, mainly due to the fact that it has that FAMAS like almost instantaneous center speed. But then again, you still need to watch your recoil spread because it will spread out of hand if you spray more than like, let's say 6, 7, 8 bullets. So yeah, there you go. Tap fire ability. So tap fire ability on the KH is very good. It does not jam at all. It is a very, very smooth tap firing weapon. So for those of you guys who do like to tap fire your assault rifles across great distances, you'll be very pleased with the KH2002. Moving on to the sprint drawback. So the sprint drawback, the sprinting mechanics, like the sprinting animations and whatnot, are very similar to the FAMAS G2 and the FAMAS. It's a little bit different in that your character kind of it has a little bit more flair to his or her sprinting animation, but that's besides the point. It just looks similar anyway, and the sprint drawback is pretty similar to the FAMAS's as well. And let's see, moving on to the draw speed. The draw speed, I mean, I would say that it's pretty fast. I mean, the FAMAS family themselves didn't necessarily have it. They just had moderate to average draw speeds, but because seeing that this is the KH2002 and Nexon could do whatever with it, I honestly feel like it's a little bit faster than FAMAS's FAMAS draw speeds. But then again, it could just be me. But judging by the gameplay video here on the preview screen, it does seem like it is faster than the FAMAS's draw speed. So there you go. If you do like the FAMAS, then that's an improvement that you guys should be able to look forward to. Moving on to the center speed. Like I mentioned before, the center speed the center speed characteristic is carried over from the original the FAMAS family. So the KH2002 does enjoy that nearly instantaneous center speed snapping to normal like the other FAMAS variants as well. So that's something you should highly enjoy. Moving on to what is next here, the reload speed. The reload speed is actually much faster than the FAMAS, the other FAMAS variants. In my FAMAS family reviews, I repeatedly mentioned that the reload speeds were one of the downsides of the FAMAS. Even if you slap an XM1 on it, you can definitely notice that the reload speed has been decreased significantly. However, I'm rocking an XM1 on the KH, and it reloads it reloads faster than the FAMAS without an extended magazine. So that just goes on to show you just how much the reload speed has been buffed over the FAMAS. So that's definitely something you want to enjoy as much as possible too. Moving on to the fire modes. The fire modes on the KH is only available. There's only one available, and that's fully automatic, obviously. So unfortunately, it doesn't really have any other fire modes like 3-round burst or something like that. So for those guys who are fans of 3-round bursting, then I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to look for another gun. The KH doesn't have it. Moving on to the let's see here, the luck. Now, the luck on the KH is actually really weird. In this gameplay, you'll see me get like the most random headshots ever, even while scoped in. I don't know what the deal with that KH is, but it's one of those few weapons where the luck on the KH is not dependable at all. Like sometimes it's the best way I can describe it is it's just bipolar. Like some games I'll just get like lottos for days, and other games I just won't get any lottos at all. So it's very bipolar. It's very unpredictable, and I mean, technically speaking, I would have to classify the luck on the KH as very high, but it's kind of stretching it because it's just so random. You can't predict it at all. Like you never know if you're gonna get a headshot. I mean, if you aim for the heads, then yeah, you're probably gonna get a headshot. But if you're like me, who never aims for the head region or the upper body region, just main body region, then sometimes it can just go completely bonkers and just give you hit lottos for days. Other times it can just be like, no lottos for you, man. QQ problem. And yeah, that's my experience with the luck on the KH anyway, so I don't know if it's different for you guys. And this guy won't die to my USB tag. Anyways, so after that we have the ammo capacity, and the ammo capacity is pretty standard for the KH2002. It has a standard 30 round magazine over a 90 round reserve ammo. So there you go, nothing too special there. Key physical characteristics. So the KH2002 actually kind of looks like the Type 95 from Modern Warfare 3. I don't want to make cross-game references here, but it honestly looks like the Type 95. I'm not gonna lie. Other than that, if you guys have never played in Modern Warfare 3, it does actually resemble the FAMAS in that they're both bullpup weapons. Let's see, just the overall appearance on the HUD, like everything about the KH is pretty much similar, similar if not identical to the FAMAS. Like the reload animations are the same, the sprint animation are the same, the draw animation is the same. Pretty much everything about it is the same as the FAMAS. So yeah, if you guys have used these FAMAS variants before extensively in the past, then you will definitely know that yeah, Nexon kind of paid attention to the fact that the FAMAS family were needed some buffs, and this is their answer apparently. So I really like the KH. I'll just tell you guys that right now. But it's not even in a review yet. Anyways, moving on to the muzzle noise. The muzzle noise on the KH is it's almost identical to the FAMAS's. It's so weird. Well, I shouldn't say weird, but it's uncannily similar to the FAMAS's. Like you can tell there's a difference. Like they added like just one more audible frequency in there, but it's so similar that it's easy to confuse someone using the KH with someone using the FAMAS. So because it has that same characteristic popping noise. Like if you guys have ever heard someone use the FAMAS before, you guys will know that the FAMAS has a really characteristic popping noise. But the KH2002 also has a very loud popping noise as well. It's a little bit deeper, and yeah, it's a little bit deeper, but you can definitely tell that it has that same FAMAS like popping noise whenever you fire it. Moving on to the let's see what's next here. The attachment options. You can attach anything on your KH2002: sights, suppressors, extended magazines, or magazine modifications. Anything is good game, and yeah, you should. I recommend extended mag because I mean the reload speed, like I mentioned before, the reload speed is very good on the KH, and a sight, preferably ACOG, but sights is up to you. Suppressors, I never really am a big fan of suppressors, but I mean, who knows? You might like a suppressor on it. I mean, it might do something about the recoil spread of the KH2002, but I wouldn't really worry about it too much. Let's see. Moving on to the let's see. Well, it's fire team worthy. I mean, I would think it's very fire team worthy. I mean, it's very strong. It's pretty much like a buffed FAMAS G2, except without its iTech scope. Or I shouldn't say iTech. It's red dot reflex sight. So yeah, fire team, very good. Quarantine, not so much because I mean, in the end, it is an assault rifle. I mean, it's not like super overpowered like your Ravens or your Baron CB or your Rocco's AUGs. So yeah, unfortunately, quarantine, you're better off lugging something else. Rank personal opinions. Now, my favorite opinions on the KH2002 is that it is a very solid gun. I mean, for those of you guys who actually do have NX, then I would encourage you, not strongly recommend, because the KH, even though it's pretty good, it's not worth dying for. And if you guys do have NX and you are a huge fan of assault rifles, or more specifically the FAMAS family, then I would definitely recommend that you get it. Otherwise, I wouldn't really recommend it, but I would definitely encourage you guys to try it out. Who knows, you might really like it. I really love it because I'm actually a pretty big fan of the FAMAS family itself, and just coming from a FAMAS heavy background, I really like the KH. 2002, my transition into the KH 2002 was a really smooth one and a really enjoyable one too. So that's just what I think of the KH 2002. It's a very solid assault rifle and very good. I don't know about you guys, but maybe you guys will buy it because of this review. I don't know, but for me anyway, it's very good. In any case, yeah. One last thing before I go, the recoil while in scope. Probably by this time in the review, you guys will have already seen how the recoil performs on the KH2002 in terms of its in-scope recoil. The in-scope recoil, just to recap, is for those of you guys who aren't really watching the video or just paying attention to audio commentary or something like that. The in-scope recoil is actually is actually really pretty much almost straight up. Even while strafing, it's pretty much straight up. I think your first 3, 4, or 5 shots, if you're lucky, will go straight up, and then it'll bounce side to side, but back and forth as well. So it's just a straight up vertical recoil, and it'll start bobbing side to side, just barely. I mean, it's still, you can still notice it, but it's not as bad as other weapons. So it's kind of like the M4A1's in-scope recoil, but it's a little bit worse, but not by too much. So yeah, that's just what the last thing I wanted to mention about the KH2002. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. This has been a review on the KH2002 assault rifle. Once again, this is out for preview sale as of now. Hopefully, the review will go up pretty soon after it was first released. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. And hope you guys will go out there and buy the KH2002 because it is definitely a very, very solid assault rifle. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. いくるしってってね。